Welcome once again to the Player Experience stream. I'm Max Atlas Anderson, joined on the desk by Stress and our special guest, pro player and support analyst, Gate. And firstly, Gate, how do you feel after that marathon of an ANX win over Rox?
With the ANX victory, I don't know. I'm feeling some type of way. That was too crazy. I still can't believe it, honestly.
If there's any way to make you a veteran of the Player Experience casting desk, that is certainly it. And Stress, how are you feeling? Brain still working?
You lost your brain.
Yes,
he was just screaming up in the green room. So I think the fact that we are somehow calm is a testament to your fortitude, because we lost ourselves during that game.
We most certainly did. But for this game, we'll be taking another look at Likkrit, this time taking on G2's Mithy. Likkrit has been something of a sensation during the group stage, and he's renowned for the crazy damage he puts out on Brand mostly. And that's why you see that one being banned.
Yeah, a lot of Brand bans. We just saw him playing the Taric as well. Very different champion, and just about held on. But what are your takes on Likkrit's, abstract style? We did see Likkrit in the last game, obviously.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, but honestly, like, throughout all his champions, his team fighting as support, like, pretty on point, honestly, for all of his picks. So I really have nothing bad to say about him for that sense.
Well, we'll see whether the Brand is going to once again be banned away. I have a feeling it probably will be, but the Poppy is going to be first up, followed by the Tarm Kench. And there is the Nidalee taken away by Albus Nox, of course, on the red side this time around, which could change things up for these guys.
Well, at this point, Brand or Bard is getting through here. Definitely one of the two.
Oh. This just in. Could it be a Brand first pick for Mithy?
Surely not. Surely it could be.
It could happen. I've honestly, like, just playing NA solo queue, I've seen, like, people like Mako, he put like 30 games of Brand support in, like, through all the games I've seen. So, like, people are playing the unconventional supports because they think they're pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I actually remember back to the IWCQ tournament, and when all of the teams were scrimming against each other, Likkrit was just going nuts on Brand. So all of the support players in the tournament were scrimming with Brand to try and work out why it's so good. None of the others played it.
and to be honest, would it really be a first pick Brand? I don't think it should be a contested pick. Surely ANX don't know that G2 would play Brand.
I think if it were to be a Brand first pick, or like even G2 playing the Brand at any point, it would give you more of an inclination on how G2 are taking the game, I think, more than how actual pick and ban should work.
There's no need to sully it. Could be a good strategy. Who knows?
I'm not trying to. Mithy has been known to play a few different things as support. And European solo queue, there was a lot of the Brand Annie style, so we certainly have played the Brand before. But when it comes to that support matchup, Mithy, I feel he's been tending a lot towards the Brawlman. I haven't been the most impressed with Mithy this tournament, considering the hype that was around Sven and Mithy as a bottom lane pairing. What are your thoughts, perhaps, even on the pairing itself from what you've seen, Gate?
Yeah, I definitely think G2's bot duo is underperforming at this tournament. We see a first pick Alistair.
Yeah, Alistair's going to be locked in first up, so taking that one away. But weirdly enough, it's not in Likkrit's playable champion pool necessarily.
I don't think. Yeah, I think Likkrit plays
Brand,
anything.
Bard, Taric.
Anything
like, that's
except
the champions he's going to play right now.
So it makes no sense to me, actually, why they would take that. Seems like NX is going to just get whatever comfort picks they're going to get on their 1 and 2.
It's a bit strange as well, because when you look at priority of champions, like Alistair, I don't think anyone would tell you it was first pickable. Not only like in the meta, but yes, it's got a high win rate, but when you look at what you've now shown and given away is, you've given away half of your duo matchup. Typically G2 like to last pick that. You've also shown that you're playing a melee support, so there are only a few champions left that you can pair with it to actually have a fairly solid bot lane. So ANX already taking, a heavy lane-focused AD carry on the other side to try and punish this.
I think anything Likkrit can play now is getting to Alistair. Like, this whole pool is, it's like you're showing your weaknesses, which doesn't make too much sense to me. Which, like, also makes me think, like, what actually does Likkrit, like, what is his weakness as a support?
He's overly aggressive.
Yeah, he's overly aggressive, but, like, I've seen him not prioritize vision very well. But
he gets a very late sightstone as well.
Yeah, and just overall, I think as a team, how they play around vision is a little off for a Worlds team. They 50-50 every single pair. It's really painful to watch, actually. But as for his champion pool, I wonder if he can actually, like, what if he can actually also play the conventional supports like Nami or something like that, like not super out of the meta. Or like, yeah, it seems like he's gonna just play Brand.
I think he will. I mean, you heard ANX talking about it. The Nivea Open, we take it. Brand Open, we take it. So, I mean, if that does come about, we'll see how it works into the Sivir Alistar. Obviously, Sivir, you can spell shield out the ult if he chooses him as the first target. So there are a couple of interactions that Sivir will have as a benefit to this.
Yeah.
Difficult to get stunned. If you get hit by Pillar and then the Q, or the E and then the Q, you kind of asking for it at that point with Sivir. So maybe we'll see a little bit easier of a bot lane compared to what other people playing against Brand.
The good thing about Alistar here, at least if they pick Brand, is it'll have easy setup for Trick, and hopefully, I think that'll be their plan actually when you pick Alistar like this. You want to just set up your jungler for multiple kills on something like a ring support.
The thing that I find really interesting is the fact that ANX are currently setting up for a support last pick, which is going to be locked in with the Jace and the Kennen being taken away. Interesting, of course, Kira did have a good Jace game.
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be support cannon like the old days. Oh. And what they're doing here is they're just going double ranged bully in lane against Alistar.
And it'll be top lane Lucian, and then they'll play Kalista. And it'll be the dream.
That sounds too crazy for me. I don't even know if I'm ready for that. you see G2 just hovering Brand. They're not going to pick it, obviously, but maybe they're thinking ANX won't pick it. I also think like it's weird to pick Kennen here because they've shown Alistar first pick, and Alistar's a good champion against Kennen just for the W.
Exactly.
Just hit him out of the hole. It's kind of weird to me. I think whatever it is, Likkrit's just waiting for last pick because he's gonna if it's not good for Brand, he's just gonna play Bard or something that's also good into Alistar. And if it's something really good for Brand, he'll just go Brand.
Well, at the moment, we're looking at the Aurelia being picked up towards the top side of the map. Aurelia versus Kennen, something that has been considered relatively good. As Perkz heads over to the Rise and will be locked in.
Expect also came into Europe being known as an Aurelia player as well, so certainly has that in his back pocket. It's worth reiterating as we potentially wait for the last support.
That's going to be locked in.
That's a conventional support,
I was going to say, what is this? You beat the Rocks Tigers and suddenly you're like, okay, the craziness is over. Let's show the world
Let's play
how
seriously.
good a team we are.
Yeah.
And to that point, it's worth reiterating. G2 can't get out of the group. This is their final game of the tournament. This is only to get a 1 in the win con. ANX are playing this to get the first seed guaranteed in Group A. So this is absolutely a serious game out of both teams. When
this game also avoids a tiebreaker at the end of the day if Rocks are able to take down CLG as well. So ANX, if they want an earlier time to go home, this would be a definite win that they'll need to put on the board at the same time.
I think both teams are just going to play seriously. There's obviously, like you guys said, no one's going to take this game lightly. It's interesting Likkrit pick Braum, I guess, like out of any of the games, just here, I'm just going to play something normal. Let's play the game normal. I'm not too sure.
There's also the fact that, without the Braum, this ANX squad would have been one of those tankless comps, which hasn't necessarily been working out so well at the same time. So we'll see how it does go. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, send your questions to @LOL Esports with the hashtag AskTheCasters, and we'll answer as many as we can during the show. While these players are loading up onto the Rift, I'm so excited to see whether ANX can back up that victory against Rocks in such a marathon game, because that would have to weigh on your mind. A game going for that long and then having to go straight back into another one, it's like a best-of series, right?
At least they'll be feeling like good about it. They'll go into it like, oh, we just beat Rocks. Whatever happens this game, like, I'm sure they're confident too, because like G2 is at the bottom of the group, so I don't think they'll feel very threatened by them.
Well, we are onto the Rift here for G2 versus ANX, and we'll be focusing on Mithy versus Likkrit towards the bot side. Thankfully, Mithy does have a hilarious skin as well. I love that one.
Well, we saw Mithy play a lot of Braum as well this tournament, so we'll see how his Alistar into Braum kind of lets up.
We're going to see some level 1 right now. They're sending their whole team on the bottom side.
We'll see whether anything is going to come of it. At the moment, it's the standard fan out from G2, but no vision on this entrance to the jungle.
This is like a solo Q invade, honestly. Like, you take your Blitzcrank and you go this route.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully someone's AFK. It seems like G2 is AFK. I think they're going to just end up getting a kill on the server here. Oh, what a tragedy.
Oh my goodness, the
Sven,
5-man squad. The ward goes over, Sven.
Oh, he missed it up. Flash. Oh no.
Oh dear.
And there's the Braum stun for way too easy a first blood.
Hey, generally when you have your bot lane set up like that for G2, your mid lane Rise, he should be standing about where they were going to invade, and he'll drop his trinket there. So this is like a team planning issue. someone should be there, someone should see 5 people walk in, and someone should ping something and tell them to back off.
And the funny thing there is Perks actually dropped down to that position after the invade, so he's probably sat there thinking, okay, well, nobody's here, it's fine, everything's
deceptive
okay.
to his own team.
Oh, Likkrit. Oh, Likkrit.
The level 1.
No way. Is this going to be
this might work too.
The flash auto Q coming out? Oh, he's shown already.
Well, there's the Q. It's going
just
to land.
I think it's just
okay. It's good, though.
Yeah, I think it's a little too hard to make that play work without the exhaust. Also, just like Jace and Braum, they're not going to kill the Rise level 1. It'll be a little too hard. But yeah, he had some free times after that level 1 because he knows for sure the enemy bot duo can't do the camp with the Sivir dead. So he's just going to use that time and roam mid. It's a pretty good play.
A Miracle, of course, spends a lot of time on his own as well, as Likkrit does like to get around the map.
Yeah, it shows in his champions picks too. Like Lucian is definitely like one, he got a dash. He's not really too like if the enemy bot duo aggresses on him, at least he can fend for himself. So it's nice to see like at least they understand each other's like tendencies and what champions like pair up with each other.
Oh, there is the dash.
Very.
Oh, they sent Mithy.
Yeah, good stun as the boomerang does fly out. Mithy, half of his health bar, but we'll have triumphant roll.
That's a very aggressive move. I'm glad they recognize like they're both gonna ding 2 there, and they make a duo like aggressive play. That just got some Alistar's HP. It's not the most like significant trade, but it's just nice to see like action on the world stage, especially at early levels.
And the trades are going to go so heavily in the favor of ANX as long as they play it right. They've got a longsword up on the lane as well, so if they can get Sven's potion, get a lot of Mithy's mana down as well, like there's some heavy trades to be made.
See one more right here.
Oh, walks back into it though.
Yeah, that's just a little too much. Like you have to be committed when you dash in, and that's just a situation where there's too many creeps.
Likkrit, he's on the roam again.
Once again on walkabout, misses the Q. PvP Stale's taking a lot of damage, but Trick
forces the
still
flash.
flashes.
This is okay, but yeah, he should have definitely saved his spell. You can't expect to hit a lot of people from max range with your Q, and just generally your presence there with your W. Like if you can jump to the Elise there, you'll threaten them a lot too.
He's sticking around though.
What's he doing?
Likkrit has decided that from getting the kill for America level 1, he's just like, I'm going to play roaming support.
Yeah.
We're going Team Dignitas Season 2.
I think he's in the bottom side red
TP.
jungle lane.
What is this game?
Aurelia?
Okay, well, they're looking for something. Repel goes up, PvP Stales is going to get out, and Likkrit. See ya.
I mean, it's like, okay, expect TP for that and got a kill, which is pretty worth for his TP. But it's like a lot of people to commit to just 1 kill, and it seems like the wave is not even that good for him top. So it turns out like 1 support death for that. I think ANX won't be too sad about that.
Oh, recall cancelled from Expect. So I think one thing that we missed out on is that Smurf, I believe, just TP'd back to lane in the top side. Obviously, we are support focused, so it looks like Smurf was getting crushed by Expect in the early game. So this will give Smurf a little bit of room to kind of come back into the game on the top side and alleviate a little bit of that pressure that ANX would have had on the bottom side. But it's rough though, because there's no TP advantage now for ANX.
Yeah, I think I mean, generally you'll see just the top laner TP back to lane just to match them, but since this is a situation, I think Expect to sacrifice a few creeps top for a 300 gold kill. He got stopped once, which probably like denied him some more CS, but it seems like it's going to be fine. He's going to collect the whole wave.
And does your playstyle change all that much when you notice the fact that you do have a teleport advantage or teleports are down? Can you... Like, what do you do differently in order to utilize that extra pressure?
Generally, you want to aggressively put down wards so you can make a good opportunity for whoever has the TP advantage. The most likely one you'll see is the bot duo wards in the far brush in the lane, and then you'll see a TP come in and it'll be a double kill and you'll take the tower, and that's just generally the play. That TP for Expect is a little unexpected, but it really just came because Likkrit, he is so aggressive. He's in their jungle. They all know, like the enemy team, he's like poking them over the Wraith wall, just using his level 1 Q. Kind of hilarious if you think about it.
Yep.
But yeah, he just got collapsed on. I think it's a little too hard not to die there, but he should just definitely be a little careful in enemy jungle like that.
Let's see whether he is going to chill out. We do actually have a question while things are calming down. What is helping ANX push so successfully, says Cyber Viking C?
First blood? I think they just got the longsword, level 2 early, just dashes in, gets some aggressive trade, and the Sivir has to back off and not hit the wave because of that, and then the Braum got a little more time.
Yeah, and the other thing from that is if they're not pushing like that, Likkrit cannot afford to make those kinds of plays where he's going aggressive. So it's one of those things where a Miracle has to have the wave so far away from him that he can sit back and let Likkrit go in, because you can't keep pushing like that if your support's walking into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, actually, you see a lot of the times when you clear out the wave so fast like that, the AD will also accompany the support, and it's just like a higher probability of like whatever play you make in there, like it's more successful because you have 2 people instead of 1. I think it's also fun to just farm the wave, because with that said, like it's also a lot more obvious if your AD just leaves the lane and walks in the enemy jungle. Definitely, like even though G2 is like at the bottom of the groups, like they can definitely tell their team like, oh, the AD is missing. You know, they won't die to like something like that.
Interesting thing that I've just noticed is a refillable potion picked up by Likkrit. How often do supports choose to buy refillable potions?
It's interesting enough because I think Likkrit starts refillable potion every game as support. He starts it instead of buying it. I'm not actually too sure if he bought it or started this game, but this is just generally what the trend I've seen. For other supports, it's like you're very likely to buy refillable potion on your first back, especially if you don't have enough for a side stone, because the potion in itself is like pretty cost effective and you can sell it right after to just like get some of your money back. So I think that's actually the default one for supports.
All right, I like it.
I like it. It's bottom side, but it's top side that PvP stay. As you can see, picture in picture.
Yeah, in a whole host of trouble is expect, and he should fall down. There it is.
There's no trade kill. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
hitting the spiders.
Pretty significant because Trick had come bottom side to try and get a gank off after buying his Berserker's Greaves as a first item. Didn't get anything from it. And you look at how this bottom side is going now, considering they've got a kill on their AD and got a kill up on the top side as well. This, again, when you look at how these top kills affect the bottom side now, a Miracle, much easier job. Smurf is significantly, comfortable in his position, so Miracle has a little less to do.
Yeah, you see, since both supports are melee, when you get them under the turret, you just have free time, because obviously you can't engage on them while they're under the turret. So both supports you saw right there, they just ran towards the river. I mean, it amounted to nothing, but generally that's like a good play pattern to have.
Now I assume ANX will probably be a little bit more comfortable as there's another engage towards the bottom side. Heal has to be used by a Miracle, but they do manage to get the stun onto Mithy. Culling soaked by Sven, keeps Mithy alive. No, what I was going to ask was, Smurf's got his teleport up, and now Cannon, with that extra kill, now has his revolver. Does this mean that ANX can play more aggressive because they know that that Cannon's going to be able to come down with the slicing maelstrom?
Yeah, they should look to it, but I think enough time has passed where now both top laners have their TP.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, you kind of just want to get like the minimum basic, not super deep wards, and you can still make the TP play if it's a good situation, but you definitely wouldn't want to force it as like before where you had the advantage.
Yeah.
I like the wards that are coming out from ANX here. You can see they got the crab, they got a pink in river, and a pink in the tri-bush behind them. So really the only way that Trick could get into the lane without being seen would be into a lane gank. But considering how pushed back ANX are, they've even got their own bush warded. So Trick can never get close enough to effectively, utilize Graves' kit, because he'd have to dash forward, probably get caught by a Q, and then get exhausted. So no real way into this bottom lane for Trick because of this warding pattern.
Yeah, and this is just proper team play in the early game. Your jungler should cover for you in areas where you cannot, and getting the crab in general is really good for the bot duo. It just gives them that, feeling that you're safe from the river, and that's like the most common spot where you get ganked from.
And when you're playing as well, like the supports often dictate where wards are going to be going, as well as the rest of the map taking care of themselves here at this point.
Definitely supports obviously have the most wards available to them, and yeah, they with the jungler, usually you kind of make a decision on where you want to light up the map. So when it comes to this, you have to make sure in competitive play especially, you have good synergy with your jungler and you guys communicate well, because oftentimes like just putting wards down randomly will definitely, it won't help you progress in the game at all.
Oh, again though, ANX, this is Smurf coming alive. You can see him picking up a kill. But I think
it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, it looks like a 1-for-1 overall.
Or is it?
Likkrit wanting to go aggressive though.
He sees Sven out of mana. It's still kind of risky actually. The Alistar could have used his spells, but they just weren't too sure of where everyone was.
The Miracle's no heal though. That's the other thing that, as you're talking about, they can see Sven out of mana, but that's where like the Alistar, the damage reduction that can come out, and G2 generally have decent trading potential here. What was an early game advantage in this lead from having one longsword isn't quite so significant anymore, with Sven having gone back and bought, has a cull in the longsword too.
Yeah, actually Sven didn't get the best back he could. I think Lucian is actually fairly strong, but earlier Alistair got a good setup for some damage for Sivir. Actually, Miracle blew his heal pretty early. It's kind of surprising you see that too, because the Alistair doesn't have Ignite, so anytime he could use his heal, it'll be the full effect. So he should really be just a little more patient, I guess. Like, don't be so pressured that you feel like you have to burn it right away just from an Alistair combo.
We did just see Kira falling down in mid lane there as well, so all the kills evened out. 300 gold lead now for Anex, and it is going to be largely on this bottom lane to try and get things going on, because they were the ones with the early lead.
Oh, nice
Mithy.
Cocoon.
Yep.
Actually, I'm not too sure. I think you can buffer the Q with the W so that it'll even go off if you get stunned, but it's a nice try. Like, nonetheless, you see, it's like he got some free time because the Sivir was pushing in the lane, and then just randomly grouped up with his jungler and forced doing out of stables.
Likkrit didn't get a spell shield out of Sven, but continues to shove out the lane, and just feels like this, doesn't it? It's just Sivir is going to push as often as possible.
Like
There's
that?
the flash gain for an ultimate, though.
To be honest, I think both these teams are a little jumpy. That's like
yeah.
You can dodge that. I believe in Sven to dodge that Braum, like max range Braum ult. He can just move out of it. And yeah, I think both teams are just, they don't want to give up like too many disadvantages. He had to force a flash there. The Elise literally came out from like delaying, so there's like not too much threat about the Elise. But yeah, I think both ADs are just, they're farming it out, and I think Sven's gonna get a pretty good back here.
Yeah, back with 3,000 gold as well. They've been sitting in this lane farming for a long time.
13 minutes.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of the teams, like what we would consider coming into this, the LMS teams, the wildcard teams, where you're never really sure where the skill level is. A lot of people talk about how the bottom lanes just sit there
In fact, every
forever.
region, really, because none of them play against each other, as we are going to have Trick dying on the top side. Likkrit helping out.
Here.
This is a
Trick's
great
dead.
read, actually.
Wow.
Likkrit had free time. Oh, is this 2 kills? No way, right? Oh, it is 2 kills.
He gets the auto.
Yeah.
And the exhaust.
As well. It's so scary.
So we were asking, what can Likkrit do on a conventional support? Seemingly set everybody up.
Just hit him once for the stun, you know? Like, he can play conventional supports too. I'm convinced this guy is pretty good, actually.
And he's on fire at the moment as well. You saw him in his player cam just celebrating, like... The wind is most certainly in his metaphorical sails at this point.
I mean, how crazy is it that the wildcard team is going to go 3-0 today, or at least they're on track to. So I would be happy too if I was him.
They certainly are on track to, and that was what we were going to kind of talk about, is that, the AD carries have this tendency to kind of sit in lane forever and stack up to like 3,000 gold.
Yep.
A lot of other regions will go back a lot more often and you get the smaller buys. So Sven's kind of getting dragged into this as well, where he's got 3,000 gold on him and has to go back at one point. But, a Miracle wants Sven again.
Slick dodge
Takes a full
with that
color.
piercing light, but gets around the corner.
I think if I think he should be really a little more. You see, a Miracle, he kind of like he changed his movement based on like how Sven reacted, but he should know that's like a free kill if he gets everything off. It's nice for him to try though. Like, even though he could have played it a little better, it's good to see that he's like willing. He knows he's really strong with the Youmuu's Ghostblade, and he's gonna just dash on Sven every time he sees Sven low.
Yeah, of course, not wanting to blow the flash with a piercing light afterwards.
Yeah, he doesn't know where the Alistair is, so that's a smart move.
What a crazy world we're in.
It is a mental world.
What?
Stress. My brain's still recovering from the last game, I'm not going to lie to you.
Mine too. I had to
I can see a
cast
dragon.
that.
It's a dragon.
Yes,
as well.
I could understand.
We basically were casting it upstairs. There was a lot of shouting at the
It
screen.
was a very different kind of costume.
I have to hold back my emotions a little more though.
Oh, don't do that, yeah. Just let it out.
I try to
emotion.
be as analytical as possible.
Oh, but we need the player experience.
I mean, if you want the player experience, I was just internally freaking out. You know?
That's good. Got to stay cool, calm, and collected. You know, I understand.
What did you make of Likkrit's Taric in the last game?
I think just
so.
generally teamfight play was fairly good. The only complaint I really have was his vision control around Baron. Like, just it's a little. If it's a little better, it's like the game can be over in 30 minutes. but it went to 60. So
that Baron where Rux had the pink and 2 wards in, and they were just like, I'm just going to attack this Baron down. Peanut just hops
This will
over
be
the wall.
fine.
That
Peanut
just shows-
doesn't steal Barons very often.
yeah, it just shows how crazy ANX is. They're just like, okay, that doesn't matter to us. We're just going to try to take the Baron anyways.
Oh, Smurf.
Yeah.
Another ultimate as Likkrit
Everyone's up.
Mithy
Oh, no,
are
Mithy.
facing off. Smurf able to get some of the stuns, but it's a really
Very
good
good
knock-up
block.
from Mithy, who's taking over this fight. Expect is going to fall first, and Smurf kept himself alive. Mithy has to run out.
Wow, I think both supports played that as well as they could have.
Although, sorry to cut you off, I want to see the replay because it looked like Mithy headbutted the ulting Kennen back into his other team.
Yeah, I think he was hoping to headbutt and then pulve immediately so the ult wouldn't go off, but it's like a matter, it's like a, I don't know, it's a very close maneuver.
We do get to see it though.
Yeah, he was looking to combo and accidentally, like, was it the Braum ult coming across stopped him?
I don't think so.
I think he just wanted to push and then pull for a better position, but yeah, it's a close fight. I'm glad to see both supports just roam up there and try to make that play.
You can see now G2 venturing into the enemy jungle. Moment Likkrit just banding with his team. ANX just hanging out around the mid lane.
The crowd are going crazy because it looks like Steos just got away. We're going to actually take a look at it. So it was a Rise ult coming through from Perks. And
Oh, wow.
oh, this
He
is...
lives from this?
Oh. How? No way.
What?
No way!
What?
No way.
What are you doing?
And Likkrit comes in and saves him?
Oh, that's insane.
That's ridiculous.
That's the happy feet. He's so, I bet he's just so hyped from last game. He knows how to move his character now.
Yeah, that's just his hands shaking after the Rocks win. It's like, that's how it's moving anyway, guys.
It's the champion playing him, actually.
There is no way Perks is not like hands in his head
Yeah.
after that. Like that has to be
That looks
so
like-
frustrating.
That looked like a freebie, but just a, it's important to know that Rise is actually a skill shot champion now. You
Yeah.
can miss all the cues just like that.
You can still press your W though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just didn't have it off cooldown. Oh dear, but it is going to mean 1,000 gold in the lead here for Albus Nox.
So Likkrit gone for the Moby boots as you would expect, as is
Oh, yeah.
Mithy. So get yourself in the fight faster. Ruby Sightstone coming out early from Mithy. This is something we've seen pretty much from supports all over the world.
Except Likkrit, I think.
Except Likkrit. But he delays Sightstone anyway, so why
Yeah.
would he want a red one? It's only a different color, right?
Yeah, it's true.
That
Well,
doesn't do damage.
something people don't actually think about that much, since Ruby Sightstone lowers item cooldown, it actually lowers your sweeper cooldown too. So like if you get that item early, you can clear out way more wards, and theoretically that translates into more gold, right? Because you can sweep out and kill more wards too, and just overall control the map better. But there's so many benefits in having Ruby Sightstone, but yeah, it looks like, I don't know, Likkrit doesn't even care about that. He just goes for the...
The Equinox, yeah.
Yeah.
Decides to pick that one up. We do have another question, though, in the meantime, while the players aren't smacking on each other. It's from Bidge KDFMSZ0.
Nicholas Kent.
Nicholas Kent, thank you very much. Your handle is ridiculous. What is the checklist for a safe and effective roam as support?
This is a good question. I like that because the first thing you should do is know if you can roam or not. This means if your AD is going to get completely screwed over by you roaming, don't do it. The second thing is like if you went home before the enemy support, this is generally the roaming time. If you got to back off, mostly because if you had a stronger laning phase, you'll get to do this. If you home first, you have like tempo basically on the enemy support. And then the next step is just grouping up with your jungler because you shouldn't make solo plays as support. You really need someone else to do the damage. And then after that, just press the go button.
Well, that is going to be a tower, actually, for free on the bottom side of the map for G2.
Yeah, they brought their jungle down there, so it seems like ANX didn't want to fight over that.
Mithy's heading mid. This one may not be so easy to get away
Oh
from.
dear, yeah. Happy Feet aren't going to help you here. There's the Empowered Shock Blast. He's at least lasting longer than you're expecting.
One more time. I love how he's moving for that.
I love
It's
the
so
G2
funny.
emote there as well. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
He got him that time, He's happy to spam the emote.
It's just so funny PvP Steo's movement there because he knows he's dead, so he's just wasting
It's
time.
almost like he's
So
mocking
good.
him.
Yeah, you see some people, they just stand still when they know that they're dead. PvP Status, no, he's running around
Make
in
it work
circles.
for it. Oh, man.
You got to get the distance counter going, you know? If at the
Yeah.
end of the game you could count how much distance you've traveled, PvP Status, probably the most.
Looks like GT is controlling the map fairly well in the Riverside. I think, for the most part, I think ANX can easily just push down bot with their Braum and like take their jungler and try to force a fight there. Both TPs are up, so you should be confident in like fighting for that tower, because if you bring your jungler, it's gonna start out like unevenly, and then if there's teleports coming in, you can match, and then that's how you push for the next phase of the game. And I think they're pretty content getting the dragon first. Yeah, there's a ward there.
Second mountain though. They've showed they don't care about wards in objectives before.
Yeah.
This time they did clear it out though.
They should pull it out for sure.
Kennen is already moving down to try and, because he hasn't got his TP, so he's already moving down to try and preempt the Irelia coming down. So it's very close to being available. They're just trying to delay this fight only a couple of seconds longer for Smurf, but he's already halfway here.
Honestly,
he's actually snuck right in the back here.
He's going to get a fantastic flank as well as the Slicing Maelstrom comes out. Trick doing a lot of damage. Mithy pushed out of the fight as A Miracle shooting into an ultimate. Alistair, Trick flashes himself in. Collateral damage isn't enough as expect. Oh, there's the repel. Good timing, but ANX are so low. Kira, the first one to fall down. Of course, PvP Styles is going to get out somehow, and there's the reset as expect is going to punish him. And good team fight for G2. This is the team we're expecting.
This is much
Finally
better out of G2.
a little late, but yeah, it was a great exhaust and knockup by Mithy. It looks like one more kill actually, because he was caught in the end of his recall.
Cute timing as well as A Miracle is going to be taken down, of course. Likkrit just getting back home, and unfortunately the backs weren't comboed correctly.
You saw there the Kennen came from the flank, but the team wasn't exactly like with the Kennen as soon as he engaged. We'll get another look at it, I think. Right now, I think ANX should just hit the dragon, make him come towards the dragon. The Kennen ended up just hitting like the Graves for one tick and Alistair, who exhausted him too, so it didn't end up doing too much, and they all went forward trying to commit to this.
And then Likkrit is nowhere near the Irelia after flashing out to exhaust, so there's no way of stopping this, the start of this Irelia damage. If he does, Likkrit dies just as the exhaust comes out, so there's no real way of him influencing the rest of that fight, unfortunately.
This is like kind of the cleanliness I was talking about with ANX play. They know, like, okay, if Kennen comes down, we'll force the team fight with the 4v5 we have momentarily, but their execution of it was just like, okay, let's run at them and see what happens. So they really should focus on how the enemy is feeling. Like, to be honest, if they just stayed in the pit, the Kennen would have gotten a free flank. Maybe he would have gotten like a multi-man ult, and it would have been a way better setup for it, and the Irelia TP would have been late as well.
And the frustrating thing here is you see Smurf now recalled after that fight, or was sent back to the fountain after the fight, picks up his Zhonya's. So he clearly had like enough gold on him to have that kind of item before the fight, and it just is kind of must be frustrating for Smurf there, thinking, well, if I had Zhonya's, I probably wouldn't have got burst down by the Graves. So rough, and enter. What was a good fight beginning?
Yeah, and look, talking about the previous game, I mean, Albus Nox managed to take all of the turrets of Rocks almost before they were able to take even one, and now it feels like the opposite situation is true, as G2 3-0 in their favor, and now, like, as a support player, you can have so much opportunities to wander into the base, and Mithy's doing exactly that. Fantastic double knockup, but isn't going to find his way too far in.
Yeah, it's good. Likkrit was just, what?
Damn.
Oh, his damage is actually so high, but yeah, it's good that Likkrit was able to be there to counter that play, basically. They just ended up evening out, like, the Alistair pulverize.
Speaking of turrets, in the last game from Albus Nox, we realized about 50 minutes into the game that Albus Nox had defended enough turrets that Rocks Tigers had as many Barons as they had turrets taken in the entire game.
I don't know whether that's exactly the maneuver that you want to be busting out there, Smurf, and he is going to fall down. I have a feeling he was still going to be in trouble, though.
Yeah, I think this game actually got kind of tilted just because of the team fight we just had now.
Yeah.
I really think when you're going to go for a dragon like this, or what ANX was trying to do, you just kind of pull the dragon out if you're on the purple side, and just try to kill it. If they come, just leave it alone, because they're not going to go for it. What ended up happening was just like that terrible team fight for them, and now it seems like they don't really have much control over the map.
And it's very difficult with the comp that ANX is setting up, because they've only got the one tank. They're looking for flank opportunities with the cannon, but they're probably a little scared to do it next time. He just got caught out while and used the Zhonya's. So the fact that now expects TP is going to be up for TP advantage, not being in ANX's favor anymore, makes it rough again.
Yeah, if you really think about it, the cannon in this composition is just like an Alistar, he's not gonna really kill anyone with his ult. Everyone has MR or is like super tanky. Like he can't kill Perks, he can't kill Sven, he can't kill Mithy. Like he really can't do anything by himself, so he can only set up his team. And with that in mind, I wonder why they even went for the Kennen to that matchup. It seems like they could have like really thought out their picks a little more. And since like that last team fight went so poorly, you're gonna just see him struggle throughout this game.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Where are the most important places to be placing vision, though, if you are Likkrit and you're in this sort of really difficult position where you don't have a lot of map control? Are there sort of a few places where you need to have vision?
Yeah, so right now, okay, basically they have to come to you for you to make a play as ANX. So the best places to ward are basically your entrances, because they might poke their head in too far, and then you'll have a good opportunity to start a good fight.
Speaking of good fights, potential here as Mithy has to ult himself.
I think he should be fine. They don't really want to commit to this that hard too, because it'll take too much time. Oh, that damage.
Playing aggressively. There's the flash. Perks picks it up.
That actually looked pretty funny. Perks just used both summoners just to E that at least. And he wanted revenge.
He nailed it. He nailed it.
But yeah, right now G2 is actually doing what I said like Likkrit had a hard time doing in the past. They're just slowly taking control of this topside jungle. You know, like, even though they just face checked in. Oh yeah, see, now the Baron has no wards because they swept it just a moment ago. And, you know, ANX aren't too sure exactly what's happening. They have to use the sweeper, but at this time it's already dead.
Yeah, yep. 27 minutes in, and that's going to be a free Baron. G2 really taking control of this game. 8,000 gold is the lead.
Where's this G2 the whole tournament?
I know. They took a long time to get here.
Yeah. What a shame, too.
They've had a history of that in international tournaments as well.
I was at MSI.
Yeah, but that play, funny that we were talking about vision before, and since it's such a fundamental, of course we'll end up talking about it a lot, that all stems from the fact that ANX, you know, stepped too far into their jungle without clearing it out. Yeah. All of that play started on a ward from G2, and that's how G2 were able to react, coming back towards the fight. And one kill onto the jungler at this point is easily going to result in a Baron, and that allows G2 to just get that objective and look for the base.
Yeah. If you just think about it fundamentally, if you just clear out like an important like piece of vision, they're just going to be sucked into it, and then you can make your own play. So that's the main difference for me between Mithy and Likkrit. Mithy understands that a little better, and he can set up his plays like that. Well, Likkrit, he understands that to a certain degree, but just not as clear as Mithy.
I feel like Likkrit also has only one direction that he goes as well, which is forward.
Yep.
So now needing to play defensively, it's just not all that used to it. They're going through a siege on the bottom side. I do have one more question though for you, Gate, and it's from Alan, or iGodlyPro, which is a much more easy one to pronounce. Do you think that Thresh will be a more prominent pick at the tourney as the tourney continues to stop the popular Alistar?
I think Thresh is not bad against Alistar. Personally, I think things that are strong against Alistar are Tom Kench and Bard. Those two just make too much time for Alistar teams to like properly use his CC. Thresh is also a good one, but I think it's more often than not that Alistar just combos the Thresh and the Thresh gets one shot. And I don't think Thresh is bad at all, but it takes a little more like time to like you have to put a lot of games on him to execute him well too. So generally picking like simple champions, so to speak, it's like, or just like the more reliable ones.
I think reliable is a good word.
Yeah, that was the word that if you hadn't have mentioned it, I was going to say, because Alistar's the same. You press WQ, same every time. You're going in there, you're going to combo. Whereas Thresh, as Engage, is so unreliable, especially on this low ping environment.
Middle though, I feel like you can throw out a hook. Yeah, and then just, you know, choose whether you want to act on it. That sort of
it's true. Well, things like Bard are also good because of that reason. Like, you just throw the ult. If it hits, great. Let's get a stun on that too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, with Alistar, you're just more impactful too when you go in.
Yeah,
that's just like a instant knockup. You know they're going to be CC'd. You know Alistar's probably not going to die in that time too. So it's just like a lot of benefits you get out of the champion.
Risk reward. Yeah. Reward definitely higher based on the risk you take. You can see ANX trying their very best to hold on. It's a 1-1-3 situation here from G2 as well, as Likkrit's trying to do his best, running around all of the lanes to help people out.
See, G2 are just like playing the map well too. They're just putting pressure where ANX cannot respond. And this is just overall good play. Yeah, they're just going to chip the tower. Looks like they got it. They're going to back off right away. It seems like the 1v1's going well top. They're going to get the tower as well. And this time they could just go back and hit the bot turret as soon as they see people top. Oh, they should back up a little bit right now.
Yeah, really good spell shield there at the same time. So G2 really clean League of Legends.
They really understand the game. All they have to do is back off, and now top should be backing off now too, because they're gonna send people there. And then as soon as they see the 3, the 2 should aggress a little more. Or now if they chose to make the call to all back, they all should just get out, take their jungle, and then try the same thing they were just doing, just one more time and 2 didn't hit.
And the problem for ANX is their wave clear is so few and far between on a lot of things. You've got like the combo of Elise plus Jace can just about deal with a wave, but then unless Lucian has his ultimate available, you're just getting pushed in, and there's no real safe way of stepping forward to clear it out. So it means that at least damage on the turret is going to come time and time again.
Yeah, and this is like a common trend with poke teams. They get behind, they can't do anything when they get sieged on.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just slowly lose the game, which is why I like, personally, I don't like Jace too much, especially in mid. I prefer him top because it seems like he gets a lot stronger. And then his, like, when he comes, like, once he wins his 1v1, he just comes to any lane and just, like, hits the tower with you with his EQ too to pressure them. And then you get advantages like that. When you have it mid, it's like you don't have like a magic like you don't have too much reliability in your magic damage, and it seems like this game they got behind, so there's not too many options for him to.
Yeah, Perks as well doing ridiculous amounts of damage on the rise. I
1,000
feel like
damage.
the mid-game matchups are a little bit more difficult for Jace as well. We've seen Jace do quite well against things like Cannon, which have been so incredibly popular.
It's interesting. He has Ghost too, and I really like. I don't think that's a common summoner for Jace. I see many Jace mid players take something like Cleanse or even Exhaust.
Yeah,
like lets you do your damage quickly, and you're not too scared of people coming at you. Whereas like the Ghost, I think you have. Like some Jace players go Storm Raider Surge anyways, so you're already running at the speed of light already.
And you've got an acceleration gate. You've got your own speed boost.
Just hit an EQ, you just run at them at like 1,000 movement speed, and then hit your Q too, like in your melee form.
Likkrit, hang on. Just getting that ward down. Instantly cleared out. So difficult to secure vision control this late.
It's very dark for Albus Nox
Even
right
if
now.
like the problem is they really cannot make any fight on anyone without like committing 5 or 4 people to it. So they're just slowly getting choked out by G2, and it's not gonna be, I don't think there's no like realistic opportunity for Likkrit and his team.
It's just so incredibly clean. G2 just haven't given them an opportunity. That one team fight seemed to have sealed the fate of ANX.
I mean, the only real way ANX can get back into this is if G2, when they swing around to the mid side, those wards are still there, and you can get a TP in somehow with a cannon flank and try and do what Smeb did to G2 the other day. But that's so unlikely that G2 will move into a position without sweeping. Yeah,
their champions are just too good for it too. Even if the champion or the cannon comes in, I see Bramwell used. They're just trying. They're getting a little desperate because they have to force us. Like they have to pick a side with any number of people. They have to immediately spot an opening, and they have to go right away before they lose too much damage on their structures.
Carlos Cordova does have a Twitter question for us here as well, Gabe. And he asks, who do you think is the best support in solo queue?
I spam Tom Ken's solo queue because I think it's just like a second TF. You get your level 6. I say this to my teammates all the time. Your Q does 280 magic damage. That's more than TF. And you run around the map. You're just like, you do tons of damage too. I think he's the best currently, but if I were to pick like a close second, I would say Bard. I think definitely those two champions excel in the environment of solo queue.
Will you be trying more Brand?
After
watching Likkrit?
Yeah, I actually like those mage champions in general. I used to be a mid player, so like they play really similarly to like how I used to play, but in the bottom lane. So yeah, I even played like 3 games of Brand after I saw Likkrit played it. It felt good, so it's definitely not like you shouldn't write it off as like a cheese pick or like a pocket pick. It could be good in the right circumstances.
Looking forward to Brand support in the LCS next season.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Hopefully not too much will change then, this world's so exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you can see, at least ANX have now been able to move out of their base. No inhibitors have been taken. G2 taking their foot off the pedal just a little bit, but probably just trying to ease Albus Nox into a position where they can destroy them.
Yeah, I think their focus is on Baron, but what's important to know is that it doesn't mean they have to just kill. I guess he can't really buffer the Q because I feel like he definitely did it there.
And unlike Mithy to flip so many, seems like
Look at that damage. Likkrit is so low. PvP Status once again in trouble as Smurf goes in. The desperation play out of Albus Nox. As PvP Status is going to be the first one to fall down. Smurf's quick to follow, and look at the kills. That is for A Miracle, the last man standing. They're going to need exactly that if they're going to take this game as G2. One of the cleanest games. It's so depressing. This is one of the cleanest games that we've seen so far at Worlds.
Against the powerhouse that is ANX too. Like, you know, they're #1.
Yeah.
Well, they don't guarantee it because they did just lose this game. But they still are qualifying through the quarters.
They most certainly are. It's all on CLG versus Rox in our next series as to what is going to happen. But congratulations to G2. Now going to at least finish on a high note, you know?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, see, no, they're not jumping around because, you know, this was the last game they're going to play at Worlds. Kind of sad to see, actually.
Yeah.
They stopped the haunting words of their coach from last year's Worlds about, you know, Yamato was thinking that a particular team was going to go 0-6. Thankfully, it was not the case for his team this time around, but I mean, ANX, that's got to be a ridiculously large sigh of relief for them, just in general now. They already know they're through. There's nothing really that can change that.
And there's also the fact that ANX picked a weird composition. I mean, with the only tank being a Braum, things like that. Likkrit also playing Braum, which just feels wrong, to be perfectly honest.
Blows my mind.
Like, that is not a champion that he's necessarily all that comfortable with. ANX probably looking at this game thinking, we're going to play it as seriously as we can, but we're not going to give anything away. We're just going to play some more champions, you know?
Seems like just like a practice. Like, maybe that was their scrim. They're just treating the same way.
They're like, oh, we've got G2 scheduled for
4 to 7.
You did mention it's difficult for them to find scrims, so it would make sense, you know, utilize the because that game, in all honesty, did not mean a massive amount, and Albus Nox were just looking to make sure that they could finish strongly if they could, but it's not too much of a big deal unless, of course, that victory comes out of Rox and they're forced to play once again. But, of course, if they're looking for more practice, it's the best way to do it. Make sure you just have more games.
Yeah, maybe that was their plan the whole time. They just want a little more practice.
Geniuses.
Makes for some interesting situations now. I've been saying it, maybe we live in a world where INTZ gets second in their group and somehow ANX still hold on to first and you get a Brazil versus CIS.
We get the ANX versus INTZ quarterfinal match. That is most certainly the dream. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's crazy that is also a thing that's possible, right?
Like,
yeah.
But in a good way. In a good way, because ANX have done such a good job with their strategy, and you know, they've had crazy picks and whatever, but still on a fundamental level they have outplayed their opponents in this group. Yeah. And I think the fact that we can say that is kind of
that's amazing.
Crazy in a great way.
Just their team play too. Just like disregard anything I say about like how they should do vision or anything. Just the way they play with each other. It's actually like it makes me happy seeing that, because some wildcard teams like in the past they kind of just roll over when it comes to that. But this team that's definitely not the case for them.
Yeah, they most certainly came to play. But we'll be back for the final scheduled game of the day, where we'll welcome Nori back to the show and focus on the jungle matchup between Peanut and Smithy. Until then, we'll send you back to the mainstream for an interview with G2's Perks.
I think this will just make us stronger for the longer run. And one tournament, it just sucks, but yeah.
Yeah, big apologies from you. Perks, where does G2 go from here?
Well, we will stick together and we will just look to improve ourselves and become a better team for the future. And I'm sad we couldn't show more, but I'm sure we can show a lot more in the future. So,
thank you very much. It takes a lot to come up here and say that. Thank you very much, Perks. And back over to you guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. G2 able to pick up a win here to close out their tournament. Although it wasn't what they wanted for their group stage, they do secure it. And, you know, this only just serves to make the group more interesting, to be honest, as it's not going to be ANX that has that first seed locked just yet.
Yeah, plenty of possibilities here. The last game matters so much. Just shortly before we move on, just reflecting on the tournament, it has to hurt for G2. Come on, after MSI, they played so well during the entire split. A lot of people that are watching G2 right now may not follow Europe's coast. Like, they dominated. They were by far the best team. Mithy and Sven on paper were called best spot lane in Europe, at times best spot lane in the West, and the complete collapse here must hurt them. I personally hope that they fix it from a point of communication in-game and out-of-game, get a sports psychologist or somebody with more coaching and more infrastructure for G2, because I feel these players have the potential, but they were seriously, like, yeah, not set up to succeed.
I don't want to make excuses for him, but, you know, Perks is a 17-year-old kid at the end of the day. And, you know, he's come so far. And, you know, I agree with all the points about, you know, if you talk the talk, you have to be able to walk the walk. But at the same time, I think that, you know, 2 tournaments, he's a very young mid laner. I still think he's a superstar. He'll definitely bounce back.
Yeah, and I definitely think that actually, because of his age and because of, you know, where he's at, that having somebody like a sports psychologist on staff is even more necessary, because you need guidance in that and able to actually go through a lot of conflicts that you're going to naturally have with your team, and being able to talk things out and improve your communication.
Because it's so easy to say if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And Perks, by all means, he went ham on social media when he was performing well, and he was like the bantering you. But it's really easy to get sucked into that culture, especially over in Europe, the way the pro players interact, that he's now kind of discovering like the bad side, what happens when you start losing, because then fans, like, they're ruthless. And hopefully he takes that as a learning experience, and just the entire team matures a little bit and they improve as a whole, because Europe needs them to be strong.
Plenty of time for growth and evolution out of them. Player of the game this time around going to Mithy. Lots of clutch moves in team fights. You know, as a veteran support, you would look to him in a game like this on the world stage to kind of pull it together, bring the team in for their final victory.
Yeah, Mithy known to be super calm, good macro, good clutch movements, but we didn't see it in groups. Luckily, it came out a little bit in the last game, but this was against a severely weakened Albus Nox Luna as well, who had played just that like thriller game against the Rocks Tigers here, so.
All right, well, you hear it behind us because the crowd is cheering for it. They wanted to hear from Albus Nox Luna, so now for a word with our first quarterfinalist. Let's send it back to Shox.
Thank you very much, and we had to talk to Albus Nox Luna here, as didn't get a chance before. Likkrit, first off, you wanted to start by saying something about G2 specifically?
Yeah, sure. Like, I asked Shox to give me an opportunity to say that, guys, G2 did a really good job. Yes, they failed. Yes, they could do better. But when they had nothing, literally no reason to play, they could just surrender. They could just go team or go full alarm. Yes, it would be funny, but they have shown their competitive spirit, and they fought until the very end. And you know, guys, when everyone hates you, everyone thinks that you don't deserve to represent the region, and you find the strength inside of you to fight, even if it doesn't matter. That's really cool, guys. Thank you, G2.
I can't help but think when I hear you talking about finding the strength within yourself, representing your region, you must be talking about what ANX has shown here so far. What does it mean for you to show everyone up, show everyone wrong, and find it within yourselves to advance to the quarterfinals?
Well, you know, guys, like when we actually realized that we are getting to quarterfinals, it was really hard to believe, because, you know, we came here expecting 0-6. We came here without real preparation. We didn't bootcamp in Korea, and we were like, okay, guys, we'll just come and play our game. But today, we're in quarterfinals for sure. And all I want to say is that, hey, guys, we are from FLICKR. And they have told you before, being underdog doesn't mean being a loser. That's all.
I'm a bit lost. Very inspirational words so far. I do want to ask you one more question about that game versus Rocks, because that was insanity. Where did the shot calling come from in the end? And it looked like you guys might give it away right at the end, because it was so incredibly close. Where did you find it within yourself to make the right moves, sneak that Elder Dragon all of a sudden?
Well, Kira said that, hey, guys, I can do solo Drake. And Stash was like, Kira, why? Don't. Why are you trying to do this? That's a bad call. But other team was like, no, Kira, go do your stuff. That's actually a cool idea. And after we just went, sneaked the dragon, and that was the second moment which actually led us to the victory. And first one, props to the Smurf, when he survived to 3-man gank, which actually led us to killing Kate and to getting Nashor. So another thing I want to say, it's not connected to Rock's game, but more to our performance and our team. 4 of our team members were chosen as MVPs of their games, And we still have one guy who still deserves his hype. You cheering for him. Like I want to ask you guys to cheer for a miracle. He did an excellent job. Maybe he doesn't look like a crazy AD carry or a guy who carries, but actually he's part of the team spirit. He's a guy who never gives up, and he's a guy who always, even if he is far, far behind, tries to find an opportunity to win. So guys, all I want to say is that, yes, our team looks strong. Some of players sometimes look stronger, but we all are a team, and Miracle is a big part of it. Thank you, guys.
And thank you very much, Likkrit and Alvix Nox Luna. We'll see you guys in the quarterfinals, but we still have a score left to settle. CLG versus Rocks after the break for that final spot from Group A in the quarterfinals. Don't go anywhere.
Oh no, the ward's there, but Smith. Where are you going to go? Exhaust is down, Mithy can't save him, and that'll be first blood. Who gets it? It is a miracle.
Nice. Trick doesn't know about that.
Oh no, that's bad news, Bears. Ulti's into them. Perk down here as well. Damage in the front side is nice from the Rise, and here comes Expect. Gonna play cleanup. Ulti's not quite enough. Wants one, doesn't get it as the repel moves down, and a Miracle's gonna kite it out, but Kira goes down to Perks. Perks maybe with a catch. That's big damage. 2 items there for the Rise ulti. Oh, that's it! Perks! Huge play! Trick gets Cocoon, but Mithy gonna save the day, and Expects in the back line, gonna get one, gonna look to hop down and try and get another. Aurelia goes ballistic in the team fight. G2 will take it, and X will pick up another loss.